the agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. If there's no further question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consideration of minutes from November 13th, 2018. Has everybody had a chance to review those? Yes. Make sure she didn't change anything after she sent it to us.
No, she wouldn't be bad.
No, she wouldn't. Stand for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
A motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public comment. We've got that one cleared. Action items. Take it away.
So, with the Wellness Center, we're just trying to stave off a potential problem in the future. If you're not aware, of course, this area here is a soccer pitch that they've completed. This is a walking park. I believe this is just going to be used for a retention pond. However, this is all open space that will be open to the public once it's completed. Of course, it is located along Gum Street, which is part of the truck bypass. Spoke with Mr. Shaw about it. We would like to prohibit parking on the south side of Gum Street from Main to 2nd. I know Mr. Shaw said he wants to go ahead and put a fence in, but we just want to keep that area clear for those trucks and just eliminate a problem in the future.
So, there's a state code that you can reference in your street signs that you put up. I don't remember what the number is, but I can give it to you.
Okay.
That you just put up there by links.
Right.
But I can get you the number.
Okay.
Is that fence that he's gonna put up there, Mr. Shaw? James, is that fence gonna be one solid fence going all the way down, that there's no openings? Because I think if there was a gate or whatever, it would prompt people to park. If it was a solid fence that nobody could enter it, I think that would be a deterrent to have people park there.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know when they're gonna put a fence up either.
So, for the soccer pitch and for the other part, where do you put parking to be?
In the public parking lot down here.
Okay.
Sorry for hitting you in the face there, Crystal.
Better with the laser.
That'd be from 2nd Street all the way down.
There's adequate parking, really, in that, and it's not controlled access. I know at one point they had those lots to where it was controlled access for employees, but now it's open to the public. Fortunately, I would think that, you know, on days where, if they do decide to have any league matches out there, I could see the parking lot maybe hitting somewhat of a capacity, but that typically occurs on, you know, after hours or on a Saturday. So the parking lot, I know right now, even during routine operations, this was taken at 11 o'clock yesterday, and you can see there's still plenty of capacity there.
I think it's a great idea. And
Of course, aren't they gonna have parking over on the other side too?
Are you talking about on the west side?
Yeah.
I believe that is just going to be a retention pond. I don't know if they're going to be putting in, I don't remember if they're going to be putting in any landscaping or anything on that particular side.
Is all the water from the parking lot supposed to go to that retention pond? Is that what they're planning?
That and whenever they have to empty the pool.
That makes sense, I guess.
Let's not get into the reasons why. I think they have to change the water out twice a year. Or at least once a year.
non-permeable roof drain, or roof, all that. Should capture whatever, additional flow is there after from dirt to roof and parking.
Would it also be prudent then to put signs on the opposite side, on the north side of the road, to also prevent people from parking over there?
There's a lot of residents on that side, isn't there?
Well, you do have businesses over there too.
But there really isn't, I mean, we could easily do that on both sides and it wouldn't have any impact, I believe, on those particular businesses or the residents. I mean, it'd just be one more thing to keep people from parking there because of convenience. And I don't know the height of the fence either. I'm just imagining, you know, a 4-foot chain link fence that people would be willing to just park and pass things over. But we could easily put, you know, prohibit it on both sides.
Is there anything in the city ordinances that require you to notify the landowners?
No.
I wouldn't think so. It's within your right of way, and that area is all curb and gutter, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And get David to put a sidewalk in
How much signage were you gonna put up there, James?
Let me think, we put, that's roughly the same amount. We put 4, yeah, 4, that would be about the same amount that we have over on Avenue K where we limited that.
So why don't we do it on both sides at one time and get it done?
That's fine.
What do you think?
there. I think it's a safety hazard to have parking over there, so. And as that road continues to get developed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if your long-term plans work for tying in further to the east, it's gonna, yeah, it'll be a very, might as well get people used to it now.
Just out of curiosity, what is the reason for them not having put in the sidewalk? Having had that mentioned?
It's not really a public, well, unlike the city, they do not have to comply with an ADA transition plan.
Then why are we being consulted planning and zoning? Is it part of the extraterritorial zone?
No, this is in our right of way, they would be parking.
Yeah, they'd be parking in our right of way.
Okay, that's.
And that's where the sidewalks also get built within the city's right of way.
Mm-hmm.
So this roadway does have, it is on the list to eventually have sidewalks since it is a hospital, it is a public facility.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's pretty low down on the list of priorities right now.
Is there a possibility of widening the road there for as a truck bypass in the
Yes.
future?
There's still additional room for us to do that.
Even with the, so, okay, then my next question is, so if they did do sidewalks?
They'll still park on
I mean, I'm just curious as to why they just don't go ahead and put the sidewalks in, because I would think that that would make it more appealing as far as the position of building.
Right.
for-
Well, there's nothing in the code that says they're required
They're
to.
not required, okay.
Is that fence, James, gonna be in our right of way or?
No.
So
no,
it's
it
gonna
would
be
on-
back, so there'd be ample space for people
Correct.
to park? Okay. Right.
As you continue to look at Gum Street and grow Gum Street into the bypass, would any of your take be on the south side?
I don't know. I don't know if the road's built, if it's built to one side or if it, I would hope it's built down on the center, we could take on both.
Oh, it would be cause enough not to put a sidewalk in there.
Right.
So, I thought we had updated our ordinances for new construction that required any new construction to have sidewalks.
No, we have not done that.
We need to do that.
We put in.
I thought
Which
that was-
that brings, yeah, I'll bring that up here in a minute. It's a good idea.
Which, I thought we did that in the ADA plan. We mentioned.
No,
that
we did.
did that.
I believe we did put it in the ADA, but we haven't got around to doing any type of an ordinance.
Just a point of curiosity. it would seem to me that it would be appropriate for a hospital area to be ADA compliant.
Well, they probably are going to all their buildings.
Everything within the building.
But I mean,
And their approaches and everything they are building. If, you know, looking at it from a long-term standpoint, if there's a potential right-of-way, if there's a potential widening that would happen on the south side, the cost of the sidewalk would be inappropriate.
so we make them put it in deeper just in case.
From an overall perspective, the hospital is easy to deal with, and if that was something that was really needed, I'm sure it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I hate to put in the cost for the sidewalk and then
Have to
turn
jerk
around
it
and tear
out.
it out in 4 years. So, of course, David's getting used to that, building a parking lot and then tearing it out, because it needs to expand, so.
I think he probably gets a discount.
You
No,
think?
he doesn't.
No, he didn't. No, he doesn't, does not. Afternoon, sir.
Usually 10.
So we were talking about the area between Second and the hospital on the south side of Gum and the north side of Gum Streets, just putting no parking signs in there.
Hopefully no parking at all.
Yeah, on both sides.
To reduce,
You know, since I got the soccer field
Right.
developed. And
Primary
the walk
reason.
path,
go ahead.
they got the walk path done, except for the pretty fine. And they got the soccer, so if we blocked it on both sides, it would eliminate the temptation.
Right, yeah, for sure.
You know, oh, well, we can't park on them, but we can park on this side.
Especially when they start having soccer games,
Yeah.
people just park out there just to watch.
Well, you know, the hospital has quite a bit of parking.
Are they gonna have a fence put up there,
They are.
kinda like the football field or?
Not yet.
I don't think we know what kind of fence they are planning to fence.
Okay. That's a fairly recent picture, huh?
Yesterday.
Yeah, 'cause we just paved that. That's good.
Oh, yes, we don't want you to arch your
What was
arm
it you just
there.
paved, the walking path, is that it?
Yes, sir.
So, if there isn't,
Do you
We
need
need
to
a
discuss it more?
I like the idea of the no parking.
we need a motion.
I make a motion that we place signs on the north and south side of Second Street for no parking.
No, on the street,
Gum Street.
between First and Second.
Gum Street between Second and Main Street. I'll get this right.
I have a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any additional questions, comments, concerns?
James.
All in favor, say aye.
I.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Main Street. Yeah. I'm sorry.
We passed. We're good.
Good.
Now, what were you gonna discuss?
Probably the fact that most of us have not turned in our comments for the ordinance changes trying to put together. James and
So-
Crystal.
Well, actually, yes. So actually, we talked to the commission about it at the first meeting, or the last meeting in November. And they liked it. However, there was some discussion later, some questions about the ordinance and if there is the ability for us to do different things. So what I wanted to do is just bring this up. Of course, we can't take any action on it, but something that I want to bring back in January. But it's, my concern is that our ordinance, it deals with the appearance, but it says nothing to do with the future development of Main Street or Avenue D. So, you know, the last thing, what those roads, and at least with, you know, our comprehensive plans and stuff like that, that's really where our focus is on retail development, things that generate gross receipts tax. But also, you know, the nuisance building ordinance deals with curb appeal. But at the same time, I think we need to preserve that land because we are kind of landlocked. We need to save it for businesses or companies that will generate gross receipts tax. For instance, if we have a trucking company come in or a business like that, they don't actually generate GRT. The GRT, if they go out, let's say they pull some oil off of a battery in Eddy County and transport it, Lovington gets no sales tax benefits from that because it's the point of sale, or the point of service, not the point of sale. Nothing we can do about that. Also, what about housing developments? You know, we have some areas in town where people will sell it. This happened just a couple of months ago. A lot on Main, kind of well adjacent to Main Street, a decent sized lot that could be used to put in a business or expand a business, and it was sold so somebody could move in a mobile home. So to address that, what I would like to discuss at our next meeting is the feasibility of just developing what we call a retail zone that encompasses the same area as our nuisance building ordinance, but basically coming up with the language to where, or explore that language to where you can only put in or utilize property for businesses that generate Lovington gross receipts tax or something like that. Also, you can't put in an RV park on Main Street. You can use, you know, temporary or even permanent residences unless it was for like multifamily dwelling. If somebody wanted to put in some loft-style apartments, reusing some of our existing structures that we have downtown, that would be appropriate, I would think. But just something to explore. So I want to just do it right, so we're not coming back later and thinking, well, why can't we do that? Now, to address the issue of some of the existing uses that we have in that area, there's a couple where the uses they conform to the commercial zoning district. However, it's not something that, you know, even comments are made from people coming in from out of town. That just looks horrible. You know, it just totally turns me away from wanting to invest. There's still, even with the nuisance building ordinance or creating the zone, the use wouldn't change until that property was sold. So whatever use is there stays there until the property sells, whenever it comes to a zoning. But at least we would be preventing new development of that kind that we do not want to see as a community, and then building for the future when that property will eventually sell, we can eliminate that use, unless, you know, 10, 15 years from now it's a different mindset in the community.
I agree.
And we could also require development of new businesses to put in sidewalks.
Yes.
And, yep, and commercial and residential, everything. I think that needs to be part of the cost of. Plus, we also told the DOT and the feds that that's what we were going to do in our 88 plan.
As long as they pay for it.
Do what?
Well, it wasn't quite worded that way, but yeah.
So, we talked about this 3 or 4 years ago when we had, what company came in and assisted with reviewing our zoning?
ARC,
And we talked about this at that time.
as part of that comprehensive plan, yes, sir.
To end some of the rezoning, making sure that if it was zoned, if it wasn't zoned commercial, businesses going off of East Avenue D from commercial further east, that as those things change, that it would be zoned commercial. We talked about several different things with respect to that, and I think it was at one of the schools when I got yelled at for bringing that up again. But I think that we definitely need to do that. Yeah, at the time that property sells, it automatically converts to the new zone.
I'm just saying, you're going about that the right way.
I think so.
But anyway, just for y'all to think of over the holidays. Not that, well, I hope nobody goes home and thinks about planning and zoning during, Christmas. There's more important things to focus on, but definitely want to reapproach this at the January 15th meeting.
January 15th.
Yeah, well, you see, we are all writing it down.
Put that in my phone now.
You know, one thing, since we are, like you say, we are kind of getting landlocked, and then at the same time, you get this nuisance with the vacant buildings, and you're trying to get them to make them look more presentable. Is there a way we could impose a tax on the vacant buildings? And maybe that might entice some people to sell them or get rid of them to somebody that would use them and open up a building, or?
No, is the easy answer.
No?
I know we've looked at that as far as charging even a fee, but with that fee, you have to associate a service, and then to do that, you have to look at like life safety stuff. You have to go in Silver City adopted one where basically fire inspector has to go in every month and make, if I recall correctly, the fire inspector has to go in every month, or is it like once every 6 months, to make sure that is the building safe from a fire code's perspective. But it hasn't really been a good deterrent to it, and it's just not Silver City. Even looking at it nationwide, the nuisance building issue was the best way to do it. Looking at some different communities on both sides of the country. But as far as trying to do a fee or a tax, it really hasn't been that successful. And I don't believe it's legal. That's his thing.
I don't know. But I think you're right that there are easier, more defensible ways to get some of that done. But it does make sense, though. But I don't know if that's a defensible position for the city or an easy way for the city to do it.
Can we at least in the nuisance and or the retail prohibit future use of buildings as storage facilities? Because there are several buildings, or have been several buildings that people just purchased and they put all their stuff in it. It's just a storage building. And if you start doing that with a storefront where you can just see all the junk piled up in there, that becomes unattractive. So, I mean, if it can't be or won't be, then used for retail, then can we prevent it from coming?
I don't know if you could prevent a particular use, because you would take a look at it at certain uses that are prevented, let's say have to be so far from a school. You could look at health and safety issues about why those uses shouldn't be located close to a school. So I don't know if you could correlate the storage to any kind of health and safety issue. What you're looking at is the urban blight of looking through the window, and instead of seeing a retail store, seeing boxes stacked with people's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the use may not be the best way to approach it. There may be some other way to do it as far as what window dressings are available, some of those kinds of things that are easier, less restrictive on how you use your property, that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm just speaking from ignorance, I don't know.
Oh, no, I mean, those are all, it's not ignorance,
No.
it's looking at it from a different perspective. You guys look at it from a certain perspective. Everybody else here has their own. I look at it from, if we pass that, how defensible would it be? Is it going to get us sued? I may agree with you 110%, but I look at it and say, well, that's probably going to get us sued, and so that may not be the best way to go about it. Really what you're looking at is not that they're storing things in there, but if they had a nice facade that you looked at and, didn't have like the bike store thing that I saw there, and I thought, hey, great, a bike store's coming. Well, it's not the case. It's just something to take up that window space. So maybe I was fooled. But there may be something that you put in that window that says, hey, this is not good for our urban downtown environment. So this is something we'd like to see. And that may be an easier way to get that fixed than limiting how they can use that whole structure.
I would think that with storage, you have the automatic rodent problem that would be associated with people being able to pack, rodents infesting this kind of thing.
I mean, that's possible. I mean, they could spray for cockroaches and mice or whatever else, just like a business that's, I'm sure if you went and looked at some of these businesses down here, you're gonna find cockroaches and mice and that kind of stuff too, so.
Well, so back to your bicycle thing. Once we put the bicycle path in, then they're gonna put in the bicycle store?
I don't know, I
Is
looked
that-
at it driving home one night and I thought, did I miss a bicycle store here? That I'm not ever,
Yeah, well, I mean, we put in a bike path, we gotta be able to service the bikes.
that's right,
You
a
know?
new opportunity.
And then an emergency care clinic for when the trucks roll over them,
Right, right by the hospital.
Yeah, Norley will open a little clinic there.
And while we're on the hospital, I could never figure out, I think it's fixed, is the gate where the sign that took you into the ER,
Uh-huh.
why was that always locked? I drive past that every night on the way home, and until the last 2 months, that gate had been closed and locked.
They first locked it off when they had the helipad there.
Yeah,
That was the, and it was, maybe it just took them that long to find the key,
maybe, bolt cutters. But I think, you look at it and say, okay, what's the real thing that we want to fix? And what's the easiest way to get that addressed as opposed to, telling somebody you can't use your building for a particular purpose, you're gonna get a lot of pushback. But if we said, hey, you've gotta do something with your storefront to match up with some of these other storefronts, hide some of those boxes, that's at least a little bit more palatable to them. And probably less expensive.
Would that be covered underneath the nuisance ordinance?
Well, I don't know if we could tie the unsightliness necessarily to a nuisance like we could a broken window.
Right.
It may be more something that is a program that Main Street or, one of those agencies would undertake to maybe help some of those businesses as opposed to not. And they may not understand that they could rent out some retail space in the front, still store it, and generate some additional income too. So, Main Street might look at it a little bit different and have better success at it than, Big Brother told them, this is what you have to do and this is what you can't do.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Any motion?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?